You are listening to the Booth Podcast, Saskatchewan's home for unfiltered sports analysis, hot takes, and wild conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Booth Podcast, weekly NFL show. Jesus Christ, we have a lot to talk about this week. It is a huge week, perhaps one of the biggest events in our football watching times has happened. So we needed an extra special, monumental show this week. Joining me as always, Davey O'Doyle, Richard Reese Shawnsby, but hold the phone for the first time ever, making his booth debut, ladies and gentlemen, our dear friend and now colleague, Braden Johnston. Braden, how is it going, man?
Good. I'm excited.
You fucking
First
should
podcast, so let's go.
Hey, well, we brought you on for a reason because, we've alluded to it a lot of times on this podcast that, there are some friends in our circle that, wouldn't be too happy with some of the ways we talk about the Broncos. And they've met Carter, but now we have BJ on here as well. Dave, how are you doing?
All good in the hood, my dude.
Hey, there we go. Rich?
I'm mediocre because, I see all these teams making moves and I wish my team would make moves, and I'll just sit here as a mediocre Vikings fan.
That's tough. That is tough.
Just want to do something.
I know, man. Hey, I'm still holding out hope that one day Kirk Cousins he'll, you know what? If you love something, let it go. He's been there. It's time to just push him out of the tree, whether he can fly or not. But of course, the move we all saw, it sent shockwaves around the NFL world. The reason BJ is on here today,
Carson Wentz. To the Commanders, man. There we go. I knew that's why we were on here.
Absolutely, man. Oh, that was awesome. Hey, nice. No, of course, we're just being silly. I know you're used to seriousness, but this is just goofing around. Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos for a king's and queen's ransom. A lot.
Chump change.
Chump change is fucking cents on the dollar. Love that. BJ, thoughts, man? You got the guy.
Oh, pure elation for the last 48 hours. I guess less than that, but oh yeah, it's a good time to be a Bronco fan. It's nothing but positivity now after so many years of being down in the dumps.
So, okay, it was great research. It was Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, Drew Lock, 2 firsts.
Yep.
2 seconds.
Yep.
Was that it?
5th, I believe.
And a 5th, yeah.
And a 5th?
For Russell Wilson and a 4th.
And a 4th, right.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a 4th too. That doesn't go unsaid.
No, that's being overlooked quite a bit.
Hey, for all you know, you might find the next Russell Wilson in the 4th. You don't know.
Well, hey, we got a strong history of drafting in the back half of the draft. So
sure do. That's when you make your team, man. Everyone worries about these firsts and seconds, but 3rds, 4th, 5th. Yeah, this is crazy. And before we started the show, I was trying to figure out when the last big trade like this was. I guess it was a year ago. Matt Stafford, Jared Goff. But before then, I mean, shit, it'd probably be Jalen Ramsey, huh? Darn. But before that, man, NFL trades, it seems like they're happening a lot more, and they are blockbusters. It seems like once a year now, we just get an absolute blockbuster, and this was huge. This is huge.
It's amazing for the sport. It's so good for the league to have these huge trades, because look at what Twitter was like yesterday. It was 100% NFL. At least my feed was, which is kind of biased because it's usually 100% NFL, but even more so, it was just everything was Russell Wilson and everybody was talking about it. It's great for the league to have these blockbuster trades every year.
Oh, no doubt. And like, you can't expect them every year, but honestly, at this point, like I'm kind of getting accustomed to it. Like the year that there's not a trade and everyone's locked up and everyone's content with their roster, that's gonna fucking suck. I don't want that year to come. That's gonna be regular water for sure. I want trades all the time.
So let's break this down. The Broncos absolutely hosed Seattle in this deal.
Thank you.
Right?
100%.
Like, let's be real. Russell Wilson for any first rounds, yeah, no brainer. Second rounds, like, okay, cool, but like, who really gives a rip? And then you look, Drew Lock stinks. Like, getting him out of your building is probably better than having him there. You filled the void with Russ, anyways. No offense, gone, but you have Albert O waiting in the wings. So what did you really lose? You lost Shelby Harris, which is big because he's a good player, but you got a franchise quarterback and you lost Shelby, and that's it.
Yeah, and Shelby's north of 30, so.
That's what I'm saying, right? So you have to fill a spot at D tackle, and you've got a franchise quarterback.
Honestly, having a hole at defensive tackle is your biggest problem. That's a really good problem to have.
Well, and also it's like it's not like Shelby Harris was like perennial all-pro 16 sack a season Aaron Donald. Like you guys have Chubb. You hit on Jonathan Cooper in the 7th last year. Like you have a good to great defense. Shelby Harris, yeah, good vet, tough loss, but hey, Shelby Harris or Russell Wilson, you could make the argument that you like. I know you can only trade 3 years in advance.
I think so.
You like there could have been an agreement every year Russell plays, you owe us your first, and that probably still would have been a fair deal. Yeah, especially because like you didn't trade the pieces that enticed him. Like you didn't have to give up Judy, Fant, Javonte, all that. And then he gets there and it's like, fuck, this is Seattle 2.0.
Yeah.
Where you staying, Rich?
I want to give you the Broncos 2022 opponents. We don't have the full schedule yet, but we have the opponents. And what's their record going to be now? Just off of this.
Yeah, they have a 4th place schedule, hey?
Yeah, right, we do.
Yeah.
So at home, you have the
Ravens do too.
Cardinals, Texans, Colts.
Okay, wait,
Jets.
hold on. BJ, you keep track of the wins.
Okay.
I'll be the losses.
Okay. Cardinals, Texans, Colts, Jets, Niners, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. On the road, you have Panthers, Jags, Rams, Seahawks, Titans, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Ravens.
Well, quick math, I got 11 to 12 for sure.
And I got like
On
4 or 5. Yeah.
Because typically the way the Broncos go, and maybe Russell changed this, but typically the way it's gone is we get dog walked twice by the Chiefs, and then we split 1-1 with the Raiders and the Chargers. So the way I see it is ideally we're going to steal at least 1 from the Chiefs now. Yep. We should get 2 over the Raiders, and we have a real shot at getting 2 over the Chiefs. But I always, just to be safe, that's the formula I go with, is we get half division wins, half division losses, just to be safe.
Yeah, I when I was just doing it, I gave 1-1 versus the Chiefs, and you swept Chargers and Raiders.
Okay, so
I mean, just off the top, I have 11 wins, right? Like 11-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like
you're making the playoffs.
That's
100%.
the standard. Like this Russ move is huge, because like, a lot of pieces got moved and stuff, but like for the landscape of the NFL, like the AFC is impossibly hard at quarterback. Derek Carr, I think, is an easy top 15 QB. Like I think he's so good and so underappreciated, and he is far and away the worst quarterback in the AFC West.
I can't remember who tweeted it, but Derek Carr has to be the best, worst quarterback in a division in history.
All time.
Put Derek Carr on any of the Raiders teams from the 80s. Dog, they're a dynasty. I mean, they kind of were, but like Derek Carr, yeah, like he's so good. And he's got to look around and be like, fuck this. Like, seriously.
He's the 7th best quarterback in the AFC. That's unbelievable.
That's insanity. That's the thing is, like, I was thinking just with how good quarterback talent is, I'm like, Lamar Jackson, unanimous MVP a couple years ago, right? Like, freak talent. Borderline top 10. Like, there are so many guys. It's like, I'd probably put him in there, but it's like that. I have to. What?
Yeah, it's wild that Lamar is like around that 7-8 spot now, right?
A fringe guy, yeah.
Yeah.
We have Herbert. We're waiting on a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who now he has Doug Peterson stuff. It's like, oh, what if he pops off? What if he hits like we all think he's going to? And then all of a sudden in the AFC, you have Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr. It's unbelievable. What if Malik Willis hits in? Well, he has to go to the NFC, I guess, now because Denver has.
Let's not even mention if Deshaun somehow becomes innocent and plays for the Texans.
Yeah, if Deshaun gets the remote from Click, goes back in time and corrects all his mistakes, yes, that would be. Oh my God, incredible.
Okay, so I have a question here. Just flipping a bit to Seattle. Is Pete Carroll deciding like we need to rebuild this thing from the ground up, and he's on his way out, and he wants to give the next people their stuff? Because you don't just cut Bobby Wagner and trade Russell Wilson in 2 days and be like, yeah, no, I won't be around. And he's like 75. Like, let's be real.
That's the thing is Pete Carroll really going to rebuild? It's like, he's on the wrong side of 70.
Well, and I think he said he doesn't want to.
So, I mean, is he just he's doing this stuff to clear cap and to clear spaces so that he can peace out?
If what just happened in Seattle happened to me, if I were Pete Carroll, I just retire right now.
Right. That's what I mean. You give him cap, you give him all these picks to work with, right? So that you don't leave Seattle stranded and hopeless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's debatably, I think he is like a Hall of Fame level coach.
He is, yeah.
And, he doesn't want to just fuck over Seattle and then leave, and then everyone in Seattle hates him. Like, kind of curry favor with the fans and stuff like that. Yeah. First of all, just quick side note, bring Bobby Wagner to Baltimore. I would absolutely go wild.
I want him to go to Dallas, man.
Dallas would be cool, but if Dallas gets like Nakobe Dean in the draft or Devin
I haven't
Lloyd
seen that
like
drafted in like I know there was initially some rumor, but I haven't seen that drafted to them in weeks or like months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
for a guy like Micah Parsons to learn from Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, but for a guy like Patrick Queen to learn from Bobby Wagner.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I know why you want him, but it's not anywhere near as sexy as him going to Dallas.
Honestly, I don't ask for much. I just want Honey Badger, J.C. Jackson, Bobby Wagner, Devontae to unsign the tag. And I want Alejandro Villanueva. He retired.
You can just forget he existed.
See, I can, but Dave brought up a good point. He DM'd me that notification when I saw it, and I'm convinced of this. Alejandro Villanueva, the whole time was just a mole on the inside.
Yeah,
that's all he was.
Where that was going.
Who did TJ Watt tie the sack record against? This fuckhead. This guy was an absolute turnstile all year. Got beat like a drum by Max Crosby and Unique Ngakoue week 1, and it didn't get better. And then he goes, oh, yeah, I'm retired. Okay, so 6 years in Pittsburgh, signs a big deal to come to Baltimore, sucks, and then just dips. We cleared up like $8 million in cap, whatever.
I don't know. That's all I'm saying is follow the crumbs, man.
No one, and I mean this, man, no one can convince me otherwise. For those of you that know, he's might be ahead of Reggie Wayne and Pat P. No good words about that guy. If you're listening, don't, because it's probably not the podcast for you, Alejandro. Fucking
We'd love to have
idiot.
you on.
I'd love to have you on too. And I'd be like, dude, I wasn't even a premier high school tackle, but you suck absolute ass. There's nothing you could say to me, but I can say it all to you. Like, God. Anyways, the other QB move that was today or yesterday? Get my days. I think it's today.
This morning.
Carson Wentz traded from the Colts to the Washington Commanders for 2 third-round picks. And then a bunch of reports came out saying that Carson Wentz basically just sucks as a person and a quarterback behind the scenes. So tough look, but
I don't want to say I told you so, but I will say I told you so.
Rich has
Carson
been on
Wentz
that train.
sucks ass.
Man, Carson Wentz brainwashed the fuck out of me, dude. I still think he's good. I don't fucking and it's the thing, I don't know why. I don't know how. Maybe it's his arm, and maybe it's the fact that he has 3 really good games a year that are important that he wins. And last year he played really well despite his 3 really gross mistakes were highlight of the night level awful. But that dude only threw 7 picks. He's not that bad. This is not a big issue if they beat Jacksonville the last week of the season, and that was not all on him. This isn't as big of a deal. He is still in Indianapolis if they beat Jacksonville, and they didn't.
Absolutely.
They didn't do it. But I'm saying this guy's not as bad as you think he is. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Is he a top 10? No. Is he 13? I think so. And Washington upgraded tremendously from Taylor Heineke. Will this get them to the playoffs? Probably not. Dallas will still probably dog walk them. But this is a way better move than I think people think it is.
100%. Okay. Because, yeah, like you said, he had 7 picks last year. Okay. And obviously it's 2 completely different scenarios. But, I mean, Joe and Lamar both had, 16, 15? Carson Wentz had 7. And, yeah, were 3 to 4 of them the Kyler Murray throw from the end zone? Yes. Okay, they were. But he had almost 30 touchdowns. Okay. He was, for the most part, pretty good to great. Again, one.
I wouldn't say to great. I wouldn't put too great, but I would say he was very good. He was very good at times.
He was in that range. There was times it's shit, that 2017 Carson Wentz, he's in there. Let him out. But yeah, I think this is obviously it's not like getting Russ or Rodgers or
I'm saying I'd rather have Carson Wentz than have Jimmy G or Teddy Bridgewater or guys on that level. I'd rather have Carson Wentz than them because at least his upside's better.
Yep, I'd agree.
Well, and you can still say Carson Wentz is going to be high and above better than any guy that comes out of the draft, at least initially.
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying this is the best. This is probably the best move Washington could have made because Aaron and Russ were not going.
Outside of Deshaun, but that's still a huge question mark.
But yeah, people are I'm pretty sure everybody's bailing on that. He might start the process to go to jail on Friday, I heard. So because they have a big hearing about his case on Friday. So
shoot. Oh, that sucks.
Has he even been criminally charged yet, or is it still all civil?
It's all civil so far.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can actually go to jail for civil stuff, can you?
No, it would only be monetary fines, but
yeah,
I think there's a criminal investigation.
They're trying it criminal, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's where they're headed towards to see if it's going to be criminal.
I'm wondering if this hearing on Friday might be about the criminal investigation.
I think it is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So hypothetically, he gets cleared and Deshaun's in the mix. Obviously, that's a slippery slope, dangerous game to play.
Keep him out of your training room.
Yeah.
Or keep him in your training room. Supervise at all times.
True. Or then, do you look, if you're Washington, do you just sit there and be like, you gotta be fucking kidding me? This is bullshit.
Send Carson Wentz to the Texans, man. Oh, well.
Goes back to the in division. Indy. True.
Well, I saw this year, he gets to play Philly twice, obviously, and he gets to play Indianapolis.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's incredible. I guess sticking with the NFC East this week, there was also, we officially know that somehow, some way, whether it's a trade or cut or whatever, Amari Cooper, Gonzo, and there was allegedly some comments said to his quarterback Dak Prescott, which were fucking hysterical, if true. If not, still hilarious to me. But where do you guys think there's some landing spots for a big Amari Coop? He's a consistent 1,200 yard receiver.
I think I'm on he's great, but I'm on the side of Dallas actually on this one, because I heard because of this they want to bring back Gallup. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and maybe a guy they draft than Amari, just because Amari's a Band-Aid and he's a lot older than those other guys. I like Amari, don't get me wrong, but he has a market that if you can trade him, trade him. Because a team like the Patriots need him. Lots of teams need a one receiver. So I'm kind of on the train with them of, hey, we need to get younger soon. Not that Amari's an old man by any means, but I'm the Raiders could use him again, right? I'm on board with that.
Yeah, do you think it's almost like an OBJ thing where it's a team that just need, when healthy, the Rams have 3 number 1 wide receivers. Teams are just going to load up on firepower. Do you think a team honestly Buffalo just takes a shot and be fuck it, we need to compete with the Chiefs?
That would be dangerous.
That would be dangerous. And then they see the Russell Wilson thing too, and not directly in the division, but it's shit. We can get as many great corners as we want. The game, the way it's moving it's just offense. Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis.
To go to the not competitive teams right now, I think a landing spot could be Jacksonville. Not great for Amari, but you've got a team who's looking for that weapon for Trevor Lawrence, and the Jags have 11 picks this draft to throw around and maybe make a trade here. So
I think they also have close to $80 million in cap.
Yeah.
So they could take on his contract and it wouldn't be terrible.
Well,
yeah. Also, PJ,
I was just saying on the flip side of that, the cap discussion is Tyron Smith is really old and he's getting hurt a lot. Zach Martin is older and he's very expensive. And I think they're paying Lyle Collins, getting rid of, and Zeke and Prescott's contract too, right? And I think, do they have any big defensive contracts?
DeMarcus
Lawrence is gone though. He's leaving.
Right. Okay.
Because he asked him to take a pay cut and he won't.
And he wouldn't.
And that's the only other team I can say I'm tuned in with outside of Cincinnati is I listen to Dallas Cowboys stuff because they're my second team, right? And from what all I'm hearing is everybody's we need DeMarcus Lawrence because we don't know what Randy Gregory can do without him. We don't want to have to move Micah Parsons to be the edge guy. It sounds like the writing on the wall has been there for Amari for a long time, but DeMarcus Lawrence is the one that a lot of them say that they need and they're not going to do. So then it's another classic move of wow, Jerry Jones just likes to pay big. But when it comes down to these big players that they probably need, he's whoa, well, we don't need you. We can get something newer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, to me, man, the way I always look at it, just speaking of Jerry Jones, is I don't think Dallas wins. It's not really a hot take anymore. They're not going to win a fucking thing until that guy leaves. All he does is just pay big contracts. And then in 4 years, when those contracts look brutal, he's oh, well, will you take a pay cut? Because, you're playing for America's team. And they're fuck no, you signed it. And he's
it's that weird thing that they've always done, right? They had those 2013, 14 with Romo, where they were a top of the tier team. And then you had that little dip where they have to start getting rid of guys like Dez. And then they dip back up when they get the rookie years for Dak and Zeke and Amari comes, right? And then these contracts are all coming up again and he signs the big. And now he's back in cap trouble, right? It's this up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Because hey, I'm not going to be a guy who's don't pay your guys because there's some guys you need to pay. But it's the erraticness of that, right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like,
because I mean, they have to pay Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs and like soon, right? And like Grandy Gregory this year, they need to start paying CeeDee Lamb's coming up pretty quick. Like they need to pay those guys.
Well, and like we're seeing it with Kyler and stuff, like guys are wanting their money earlier.
Yeah.
Because they're like, look, we're seeing these guys that are retiring at 30, 31, whatever. And, you know, what if I do tear my Achilles next year? Like, I don't want to be disregarded. Like, they just want their money. And I'm totally, yeah.
When we get to the tag, we'll talk more about that. Because I think that's a lot of the problem for some people. But yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So as of right now, Amari Cooper and DeMarcus Lawrence on the way out. But yeah, I guess we'll fit him right in here. Might be a bit of a gamble. But speaking of which, Calvin Ridley suspended for the whole 2022-23 season for betting on games.
Good. I think it's a worthy suspension.
I do too. But okay, now this is going to sound insensitive or whatever, or it's going to sound worse than I mean it to. Was the whole break from the game, was it that? And he was just betting on these games and he was just in a bad place? Because that's possible. Or was that just a front and something else was going on?
I don't think there's anything nefarious. I think he's just kind of stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
They lay out what the rules are. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything, where he was going to plan to throw games and that kind of thing, but you can't do it. It's a slippery, can't speak, but a slippery slope from the point where you're just betting on games to the point where you're throwing games. And the NFL is clear that that's not going to happen. So if you do it, you're gone for a year.
Yeah.
Now, there's the thing going around right now showing the suspensions in comparison of domestic abuse and child abuse and stuff like that. And those look bad on paper. Those look terrible. And the NFL needs to do something to fix those. And I don't think it's reducing the suspension of players who gamble. I think it's increasing the suspension of guys who beat women and children.
I mean, that is absolutely probably a good thing to do, but just on a side of like, do we want the NFL to be the morality police or to keep football intact, right? What do we want the NFL to do here? Not saying that they shouldn't like suspend these guys harsher for beating their wives and stuff, like definitely, but like let's not be blurred the lines of, is the NFL the police or the NFL trying to keep football? You know what I mean?
So I guess that's where there's a difference too, is these guys who are beating their wives and beating their kids, they are being punished by the law. A guy who gambles on a football game is doing that perfectly legally.
Yeah.
But it's against the rules of the league.
Right.
Yeah. It is kind of funny though that as soon as it's like something actually nefarious and dastardly and sinister, like domestic abuse or whatever, it's like, hey, come on, get out of our game. And then as soon as it's like, you know, again, potentially maybe affecting the cash flow of the NFL, they're like, you motherfucker, you will not do that again. Do you understand? Yeah, I mean, we've been around for a lot of players that have gone down. Rich, AP, Ray Rice, shake hands. There we go. I mean, Zeke, Des Bryant, like it's fucking shitty. But what's shittier is how bad they bungle the suspension and stuff afterwards. I mean, I think they've kind of been getting better, but still, it does look kind of bad. The only thing, it's like, hey, at least he was betting on the Falcons to win. Like he wasn't going against the boys.
Did that come out? I thought I heard that he stated anyways that none of the games he bet on involved the Falcons at all.
They did, but they were just parlays.
They were parlays that had the Falcons
it was
winning.
nothing that he could have insider information on. He's just parlaying games.
Gotcha.
So hey, he's still down. He, rise up, Atlanta, right?
Just know he doesn't have a betting problem.
Does not have a betting problem. He said it. I believe him. Do you know what people who have problems don't say? They have problems. He doesn't have a problem. But yeah, which is also like, and this is weird, and obviously like, if you do have a problem or whatever, go get help or whatever. But like, he could have bet a lot more. Like,
definitely.
Not that. Do you think he was almost like dipping his toe in the water? He's like, let me just see if I can get away with this.
Well,
also, how do you find that out? So many questions.
Yeah, like I wonder if it was something where like, yeah, he bet what $1,500 dipping his toe in the water. Like I'm not like Calvin, it's not a different suspension if you bet 1,500 or 15 million. Like it's
he should have bet like $50 million on one game and just been a baller and then won.
But I guess this is another slippery slope. Like, do players get suspensions if they bet on like the time of the national anthem and stuff not related to the game? Do they still get penalized with that?
I think
if it doesn't involve football, right?
I think as the NFL, you just set a clear and hard line that this is the suspension if you bet on NFL football and NFL game related things. And you set that line.
Isn't it betting on the outcome of the game? Isn't that
it might be.
I think that might be the
I mean, you could put a bet on yourself over under how many catches, and you just fucking like don't catch the ball, right?
Maybe that's why he fucked over everybody in fantasy. I guess you could just so it must not be the outcome of the game. But what if
don't bet, or don't be like Calvin Ridley and use your name. Yeah, hey, it's me, Calvin Ridley, betting on games. Hey, give some money to your friend or something, dude.
How did it get out?
You are an NFL player with millions of dollars, and you can tell somebody or pay somebody to put a bet down for you.
Well, exactly. You go get yourself cash of whatever you want to bet. You tell your buddy who is allowed to gamble to, hey, put this much down on your account. Here's cash. Clean hands.
I don't understand how it even did. He report it himself, or did he tell someone in his circle, oh fuck, I lost $1,500 on a parlay? Because
I assume it either just like came out, someone's like, hey, you're Calvin Ridley, like bet on this or whatever, and probably the internet got it, or the NFL has a deal with like the brokers, like FanDuel and all that stuff. Like, hey, if we think a player's reported, you have to report this, right? I assume that's one of the deals.
True. Or
Calvin Ridley just picked the wrong people to tell. Like, hey, I gambled today. Like,
yeah, and they instantly thought, you know what I should do? I'm gonna call Roger Goodell directly. And they fucking did. Bama receivers this week though. Jesus Christ.
Okay. I found it.
Okay.
So somebody tweeted out, they were like asking how he got busted. He was in Florida using a legal gambling app, and it said the app notified a compliance company that the NFL is hired for this kind of exactly this situation, and then they were obliged. He was flagged, and they had to tell the league.
So, first thoughts: don't use an illegal gambling app.
No, legal.
Oh, I think it's
legal.
Illegal.
Sorry. No, they just have third-party services roaming to make sure the guys aren't using it, right?
Makes more sense. Big brother, always watching, nothing safe. Love that. Yeah. So, Bama receivers kind of been in the news, but moving on, we did have, and we said it already passed, right? The deadline for the franchise tag to be applied. Yeah. Some big names got it. Of course, there's one that's near and dear to this here pod. He bought the damn shirt already, and then he went and got franchise tagged. That is Mr. Jesse Bates. Dave, thoughts?
If he doesn't get signed by July, I'm pretty sure he's gone, to be honest. That's just how you value safety in this league, especially the Bengals, how they've shown to value safety, which is they don't. Like I said, there's a chance it still gets done. They just raised the cap, and depending on how we use our money in free agency, there's still a shot that he can get a deal done. Because I know Jesse wants to be here still, but from the new stuff I've heard, I think a lot of that stuff is about upfront money, which the Bengals have got better at but don't love. And then it sounds like the agent is pushing pretty hard to make Bates like a top 2 or 3 paid safety in the league. And I mean, not that he doesn't deserve that, but it's just a lot of money to pay a safety, right? So if it doesn't get done by July, like the history indicates they're just going to let him go, right? I mean, and probably pay a better corner. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I mean, that's what it is. And I hope they get something done. But we know T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Logan Wilson, those guys' contracts are coming up soon.
So do you think he sits out the season if they don't get a deal done beforehand?
I don't think so.
He plays.
He didn't do it last year. I don't think he'll do it this year. He might not go to OTAs, but he's not going to sit out the season. He's not that guy. But if he really wants to make a point, he might sit out OTAs. Right?
I just got a notification. Jesse Bates said he'll definitely sit out this whole season. So that's direct. That's wild, actually.
Even if he gets a deal done,
he said, especially if I get a deal done, I'm sitting out this whole season. That's crazy.
It's like a weird precedent that the Bengals have set, though. Because I mean, I'm not complaining about it because Trey Hendrickson's amazing, but they let go of Carl Lawson just to fill the gap with Trey Hendrickson, 2 guys who are like the same age, play the same position. And then the Jets basically gave him the same big money deal that the Bengals gave to Trey Hendrickson, right? So the Bengals have set this precedent that like they're okay with like leaving their drafted guys that they invested time into if they think they can do better. Which I mean, it's not the worst strategy, but it's the weird like you don't value your own drafted guys as much. So it's that weird thing of like if we take a safety high this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they just like, oh, as long as this guy doesn't completely suck, we'll just let Jesse walk, right?
Yeah, that is kind of weird. That is kind of weird when you put it out like that. But I mean, I guess so. You look back at George Iloka, Reggie Nelson, like you guys just. It feels like they'll have like a career.
We value very specific guys. We value D-line. Obviously, we have a quarterback now, so that's good. But we value D-line really heavily, and then we value our cornerbacks really heavily, and we value receiver heavily, and we don't value anything else nearly as much. We've let all of our guards go. We've only had one really elite guy like Geno Atkins, but we re-signed him. But like we've never valued linebacker. We've never valued safety that way. Inside like guards, we've never valued that way. And that's why we were in the shape we were this year because we don't keep guards. We don't pay for guards. This will probably be the first year we pay for offensive guards and centers, right? Because we never have before. So it's just meaning the precedent set is like it looks bad anyways.
I feel like if you guys didn't make it to the Super Bowl this year, you wouldn't pay for guards again. But I feel like because it's like magnified, like everyone's talking about it, that Mike Brown's like, oh shit, maybe I should protect Joe Burrow.
And I mean, there's a chance too that like a deal does get done. It doesn't sound like we're done talking to him by any means. And if we spend less in free agency than we figured, we might be able to get a deal done. But it just sounds bad, especially with all of those guys' rookie deals coming up pretty quick, that next year's not the year we're going to sign them. It's going to be this year or it's going to be bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're obviously our resident Bengal, but yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, he is like a top 5, top 3 safety in the league for sure. But...
yeah, like I said, I don't know if he wants to be the highest paid safety and reset the market. I can totally get why you don't sign him. But if he's being at least a bit realistic and not wanting the biggest contract as first safety, we should probably bring him back, right?
What if he's saying, I want to be the highest paid player in the league?
Even if he's saying, I'm not even going to justify that, but even if he says, I want to be the highest paid safety, I'm okay having him play on the tag. And if he does play like he's done 2 years ago or played in the playoffs all year, then they probably will pay him, right? But if he has another down year worrying about his money, then he might be gone, right?
Yep, for sure. So I think, because I know the Ravens didn't use the tag this year. Rich, did the Vikings use the tag this year?
Don't believe we did, no.
No? BJ Broncos?
Nope.
I think, so there was Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin are probably the biggest two outside of Jesse Bates.
Orlando Brown for the
Orlando
Chiefs.
Brown for the Chiefs.
Forgot about him.
Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys. David Njoku for the Browns.
Gasecki for the Dolphins.
Mike Gesicki
Cam
for
Robinson
the
for
Dolphins.
the Jags. So I mean, and then the guys who didn't get the tag that might have, but signed big deals was Harold Landry got a boatload for a 5-year deal with the Titans,
Well
and
deserved.
Mike Williams signed a big 3-year deal with the Chargers.
Yes. Yeah. Mike will. Yeah. I mean, Keenan Allen's getting up there in age. Like, not that he's old by any means, but I think the Chargers are saying, like, hey, Mike Williams is going to be Herbert's guy. Like, we're going to try and develop that connection as they should. I think probably most notably JC Jackson did not get the tag.
But do we really expect that from the Patriots, though?
Bill
If you actually
Belichick-
look at what the Patriots have done, their last tags were like Joe Tooney and kickers. Like, they don't use the tag. They respect that. Like, if we use the tag, we are going to resign you. And if we're not going to resign you, we won't even put you on the tag. Bill Belichick plays hard and quick. Like, okay, just leave. Like, he doesn't care, right?
That's what he fucking tells them, dude. He says, get the fuck out of here if you don't want to be here. And I go, Bill, what the hell? Like I said that.
I mean, like, Bill Belichick is by far the most, like, ruthless. Like, he uses the tag how it's intended to be used. And it's not a game like it is for some other teams. Bill's front and center. You're in or you're out, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the Patriots, like, it's notorious with Bill, but he moves off guys earlier than a lot of other teams would. And especially when it comes to corner. Stephon Gilmore had a defense player of the year, and he said, get the fuck out of town, you asshole. Darrelle Revis wins the Super Bowl, has a couple great years there, and he says, get out. Like, he just... Aqib Talib. He says,
these all sound horrible, but to be completely fair, he's reloaded the chamber every single time.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's like, he's like, you're going to ask for too much money. I'll make another you.
Like, I don't know what the market is for cornerback money exactly, but JC Jackson is Mr. INT, as he claims to be, and he's like 26 or 27, right? Like, he's going to get a load.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill knew he wasn't willing to pay him even part of that, right?
Well, I think he leads the league in picks the last, 2 or 3 seasons for sure.
Yeah.
I know him and Xavier.
I don't even think it's that close. It'd be like him and Howard and then
a drop off. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and the thing is like, not that these guys leave the Patriots and instantly collapse. Like, there's been a few where Bill's let them go too soon, but for the most part, like, shit, like, he's pretty good at identifying. I know you're about to fall off. Like, all the indicators are you're about to fall off. Probably the biggest exception was Tom Brady, which I was on Bill's side too. I mean, the guy was fucking 43. Like, yeah, he's probably gonna drop off. But yeah, I think other free agents this year, we got Teron Armstead, Chandler Jones floating out there, Tyrann Mathieu, Bobby Wagner now. Like, this is going to be a good free agent class. Or this is a good free agent class.
Yeah, there's, like you said, there's lots of them, and there's lots of quality players, right? So, I mean, money's going to be flying free. That's why they just bumped the cap up, like $5 million or something? More than that? Something like that, but...
Yeah. I guess, we talked a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or last week, can't quite remember. We did our quarterback roadmap. And it seems like as soon as we did that, everyone started to pick destinations. So we got Russ going to Denver. We got Carl Wentz going to Washington, and
Aaron staying
Green Bay. Yeah. Him and Devontae at least one more year. So I guess that last dance post wasn't it, but I guess still on the market. We got Jameis, Teddy, Mitchell Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, just for free agents. Like, they can decide where they want to go, obviously. And then Jimmy G, and at the behest of one of our hosts here, Kirk Cousins, we're throwing his name in the mix too.
I want to throw one name that, like, And far be it from me to say, like, hey, has nobody thought about this? Because I'm sure there's a lot more people looking for a quarterback smarter than me who have thought about it. But I've heard nobody say, is nobody willing to throw like a 3rd round pick just to be like, hey, can we try Davis Mills?
I don't think he's available. Like, obviously everyone's available, but
Yeah,
from Houston's standpoint, I think they like him enough.
right.
But
And 100%. But I'm just wondering because I've heard nobody mention
Mhm.
his name one time. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this
for
guy's
sure.
probably a lot better than we think, truthfully. Because Houston was really competitive at the tail end of this year. And he was having some good games against good teams, right? Like,
Well, was it Tua that he basically had the exact same stat line? Davis Mills
so,
and
yeah.
Davis Mills and Tua had basically the exact same stat line, and Miami's roster is a lot better than Houston's. But yeah, I think Lovey Smith. Yeah, I think Lovey Smith came out and he was like, "We're sticking with Davis. Like he showed us enough." Obviously, pending. But I mean, if I was a team like needing a quarterback, or do you know what honestly be interesting is kind of just with like his build and skill set is like we talked about it earlier, but Atlanta, throw a pick, let him sit behind Matt Ryan for a year. I know he was a starter already, and just have him be the heir. I was gonna say to the throne, but Atlanta's not really the king of shit, so I don't know. Just the heir to the quarterback one.
but I guess this brings up new choices that need to be made. Like, do the Seahawks do something else that's not Drew Lock? And what do the Colts do, right?
So the Seahawks got the Broncos first this year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So are the Seahawks going Malik Willis at 9?
I would assume they will. I think that
He-
makes the most sense. I
Like,
think
he fits
especially
the
like
prototype.
I hate with this draft class, we're like, I don't know if any of these guys are really ready to start right away. Wills is the one, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
We know Drew Lock can start right now. It's not a good start, but he can. So at least you have a guy.
Technically, any of the 4 of us could start too.
Can start and should start's a very big difference.
Yeah, there's 2 different.
He could maybe get you a couple wins.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to see the entire other team's roster get shot in the head, but he could technically win if that happened. Yeah, it's interesting now. It's like Denver's obviously awesome, fascinating, love it. Can't wait to see that offense. Can't wait to see that team. Like I am so psyched for that. But Seattle just got so interesting. They basically replenished the picks that they traded for Jamal Adams. Like they basically traded Jamal Adams for Bradley McDougald. Obviously, they lost their franchise quarterback in the process, but like, okay, so that trade is negated. And now you have, I mean, what if Malik Willis does hit? Oh, I think it's going to be hard to say, oh, what if he's the next Russ? But what if he's by year 2, what if he's like 55, 60% of Russ? It's like, oh shit, that's a decent place to start. I mean, Seattle always has a great run game. They got DK. Tyler Lockett's there for a few more years. Like, Seattle could be interesting.
Their O-line's still messy, but like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that is a tough division. So
I'm less interested in Seattle as I am in the Colts. Because the Colts are still where they've been for the last 3 years. Like, if we have a good quarterback, we're a really, really good team.
The Colts are the next Broncos, where the whole league's going to wait and just say, hey, get the guy. I want to see Quentin Nelson on the podium. I want to see Jonathan Taylor up there. I want to see all these guys like Darius Leonard. Just get the guy in the room. Carson Wentz was a guy, was a decent guy, wasn't the guy.
So if you're Chris Ballard, what do you do? What do you do today?
Davis Mills, come on down.
I think their only job option is Jimmy, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel anyhow.
Okay, here's a question then. Do you think the Colts roster currently is better than the 2018-19 Niners roster? Nick Bosa's rookie year. when they went to the Super Bowl? I'd say no.
Probably, I feel like they might be a little more rounded. Like their
Yeah.
defense overall would be better. The only place I think they'd really be lacking compared to that Niners team would be at receiver. Which, if they trade for Jimmy and they don't give up too much, they can take a guy high, or maybe get a guy in free agency.
That's true. I feel like because Jimmy G is an absolute anomaly. I think he's garbage at playing quarterback, but shit, the guy wins 80% of his games. Like, he's an absolute, like, outlier.
That's an experiment, though, because we're about to see if Shanahan is the god that people think he is, or if Garoppolo's a miracle child that's not very good but wins 80%. We're about to see if those are one and the same, or if they're completely separate entities, right?
Yeah,
like Shanahan does have a pretty bad record when Jimmy G doesn't start. Like it's a different team.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like the super D-rate version of Brady and Belichick. Like, who was it? I think neither is still an option, but because I mean, so of those other QBs that are free agents, Jameis Winston, that's basically Carson Wentz. Big, athletic, strong, big arm, can turn the ball over like a motherfucker. Mitch Trubisky, we don't know. Like, unsure, question mark, because looked like an absolute buffoon, played like an absolute buffoon, had some decent upside, and then he left, and then the world saw Matt Nagy for what he really was, which was the ultimate buffoon. And then you have Mariota and Teddy Bridgewater, who, I mean, Teddy not gonna win you those games. He's not gonna take those chances. Seen it. And Mariota, again, kind of a question mark, but he's just had longer on the bench. So of the guys that are available, like BJ said, everyone's available. But do you roll with Jimmy for the Colts?
I think you have to roll with Jimmy, or you roll the dice on like Marcus Mariota and just see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I think those are your only two options.
I'll put
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I'll put the rumor out there because I'm part of Vikings Twitter. Is
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins? They got the cap space to take on Kirk Cousins' contract and still leave them with about an estimated $20 million in cap space.
I mean, I don't think that's a terrible option either. I keep forgetting about him because his name's not in the news. But like, if you put Kirk in that offense, like he's got the run game of JT, he's got a decent O-line, and he works best, like kind of as we know, out of the play action. So again, the Colts and a quarterback always keeps falling to, do they have the receiver depth?
Yeah.
The only reason I would say no to this is because, I mean, they have the room, but Kirk has a ridiculous contract.
He does.
Like, does anybody actually want to stomach that contract for Kirk Cousins? Not saying he's probably the best option out of all of those guys for the Colts, but for that contract, he's not worth that.
Yeah, plus like the thing with Kirk for me is like he's got, not that Indianapolis doesn't have weapons, like Jonathan Taylor I think is the best running back in football, but it's like right now he's got a top 5 back, he has a top 5 receiver, and maybe not last year as much, he had a top 15, top 20 guy in Thielen. Like, he's got everything there. Can he make it work with Zach Pascal? You know, like is Kirk the guy that can do that? I'm not sure. And again, that is a monstrous contract. I think it's Rich. Is it just this year he's on, or is it?
Yeah, this is his final year of his contract. It's a cap hit of $45 million.
Oh my God.
See, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I would consider this more if they just didn't try this with Carson Wentz last year. They ate his whole contract because Frank Reich vouched for him, right? I'm pretty sure that bit them in the ass enough where they're not going to do it again with an even worse contract, right?
That's fair.
Like, Chris Ballard seems like a really smart guy. So yeah, I don't think he would make the same mistake twice in consecutive seasons. A year before that, what'd they do? Eat Philip Rivers' contract for one season. Like it's
Yes, I think third time's a charm where he's not going to fall for this again. I don't think they go Kirk. Only like I said, Kirk would be a lot different conversation for a lot of teams if he wasn't getting nearly what they're rumoring Aaron Rodgers to get per year, right? Like, let's put that into perspective. The rumors like he's going to get 50 million and Kirk's getting 45 million a year. Like, that's unbelievable.
I mean, they fucking both have the same number of playoff wins this year.
Let's go.
Hey, skull, baby.
This by no means is this an anti-Vikings thing. This is more of an anti-Kirk thing. I'm all on board with go Vikings, but
I wouldn't say I'm an anti-Kirk. I am definitely an anti-Kirk's contract.
Absolutely.
It's a ridiculous contract. It's going to be hard to find a suitable partner, especially because we're not willing to give up Kirk for nothing but a haul.
Okay, here's what you do. Hold on. I'm seeing the chessboard. I'm seeing it. This is a 3-team trade. Okay, so Minnesota picks up the phone to initiate.
Wow, you don't even know what team they're calling. Nice.
It's a
really good trade so far.
Hold on. It's not going to be a 3-team trade. It's going to be a flip. So Minnesota picks up the phone. They call Jackson.
Dumb thing. You already have the wrong idea. You didn't. You said 3 deal, and now it's a straight.
It's my turn. It's my turn. Minnesota picks up the phone and they say, "Hey, Jacksonville, Kirk for T-Law."
Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Because that's not happening.
They're hanging up that phone immediately.
Yeah, the phone's hung.
And then you flip. Shit, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, nice, good trade.
See, what happens when who's your GM now, Rich? Can't remember.
Oh, why am I blanking?
Mensa.
Oh yeah, Kwesi Adobo-Mensah.
Okay, so you give him that phone call, it goes straight to classic NHL games. Your relationship meter goes from good or moderate to terrible. It won't even answer your phone calls anymore.
It does that thing where you push you offer the trade, and it's like, this is insulting that you'd even offer this to us, right?
Exactly.
In my mind, I thought Jacksonville has like $75 million of cap. They could take Kirk Cousins' contract, get T-Law into Indianapolis, have a fucking dynasty down there, and then Minnesota ends up with like Josh Allen. I don't even who do you want? Basically, Bobby Okereke, Kenny Moore. What do you need? But it didn't work out at all. Crashed and burned.
Duval County would string Shad Khan up in the streets if he gave them T-Law to dog walk him twice a year for the next 15.
But it would be so much more fun to watch.
I'm just saying, it would stop being we're dressed as clowns in the stands. We're dressed as Joaquin Phoenix in the stands, right?
I was gonna say it would go from being dressed as clowns to the last scene where the one guy's on Shad Khan's car, and all the other guys are clowns riding beside him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It'd get really gross quick, right?
Oh my god, that'd be kind of dope though.
That almost warrants Goodell stepping in and saying we can't have this.
Yeah, that's like when they
stripped you of your franchise.
Yeah, that's like when the NBA nixed the Chris Paul to the Lakers trade. The Goodell will be like, nope, we won't have it. Yeah, I guess moving on, we had the combine this weekend as well. And 18 guys broke the 40 record, so that was cool to watch. And then, of course, when the times actually came in, none of them did. Hey,
fast turf, man, new turf.
Guy that was running the stopwatch can't have it. We can't have it.
You know what's bad when you talk I've heard people say they talk to guys at the combine they're trainers, and they're they've never even sniffed 0.03 seconds of this, what is going on here, right? And usually your trainer should be will be oh yeah, he's so fast, here's how fast he actually is. And these trainers are no shot, my guy's this fast.
Well, they had just one of the instances. They had Chris Olave run a 4.28, and initially I was holy shit, he might be wide receiver 1. like, past Treylon Burks, past Drake London, he might be the guy. And then like, oh, it was actually a 4.37 or 4.38. It's like, okay, that's a tenth of a second slower. And obviously a tenth of a second, but like, hey guy, what the fuck are you doing? Baffling to me.
No, guy needed a legitimate leash on all day, and somebody dropped the ball.
They're like, fuck, have you guys seen him? He's running around here with a stopwatch. He's a madman, just timing everything.
Oh yeah, I saw him over at the end of the 40s. Oh no.
Oh god, how many people have broken the record already? 7? Shit. Yeah, it was. I mean, was there any like standout? What was the standout moment or performer at the combine for you guys?
Kenny Pickett's
Me,
hand size.
all three of them, were Georgia guys for me. Because I think it's obviously Jordan Davis had an unbelievable combine for a freak that size. What's the other guy's name? Was it Devontae Wyatt? Was an absolute monster. And then Quay Walker. Those guys were all head and shoulders on the D line, like above a lot of guys at those positions. Like this is a really strong, obviously defensive draft for the Georgia defense that was one of the best in college football history, right?
Yeah, you're starting to see kind of why they were. When every one of their guys is testing individually out of this world. Whew. Yeah, Rich, you said that was probably the biggest story day one of the combine was
Kenny Pickett's tiny hands.
Kenny Pickett's tiny hands.
I mean, and it's so crazy the like amount of emphasis that gets put on QB hand size to me. And I guess it makes sense, but like there are teams that will now say Kenny Pickett is undraftable because of his hand size.
I'd be more worried about it. He kind of is not very good at being a quarterback before I'd worry about his hand size.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would look at the tape and be like, oh, he's undraftable.
Well, this guy's a solid 4th round QB. I like that, right? Like, okay.
I was just sitting at work when that news came out about his hand size. I had a tape measure right there. I gave it a measure. Personally, I have the exact same hand size as Kenny Pickett, so I might as well go to the fucking NFL.
Well, Rich, what size gloves do you wear? Mediums, right?
Mediums, yeah. So Kenny Pickett wears medium-sized gloves.
That's unreal.
Yeah, that is.
Put that into perspective for me.
He
wears medium gloves.
Yeah, like
are you kidding me? I was in grade 11 wearing like large. What is this guy?
Like I by no means I have quite small hands. My hands are bigger than Rich's, and like I can hardly grip like a decent sized ball, let alone throw it 60 yards accurately.
It's very evident why he wears gloves when he throws. I wore gloves when I played quarterback in high school because I couldn't hang on to the ball because I have tiny hands, and so does he.
And
I straight up didn't think this was a story. Like I didn't even care about the story until you said that guy wears medium gloves. And I'm like, oh, he actually has baby hands. That's tough.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is like, so Joe Burrows were what, 9, right? 9 on the dot, and that was a huge story when he came out.
Yeah, like 9 something. Yeah, right.
So it's like if you think about that, Joe Burrow, national champion, 60 touchdowns, goes to the NFL, absolute superstar, takes teams to Super Bowl and stuff like that. Now knock off a half inch on this guy's hands. Obviously the skill set. Knock off a half inch of his hands. And honestly, reading Twitter that day, it was literally like Kenny Pickett went to the combine and stabbed a reporter to death. Like you would swear to God he was in prison. It was just Kenny Pickett everywhere. And it's like, I mean, I don't think Kenny Pickett's very good personally, but it's like, just watch the tape. Like, it's not like...
Just watch the tape of him throwing in the hallway at the combine. That's all you need to see. That guy can sling it in the hallway. Do you guys see that?
Dude.
I think so.
So the average QB hand size measured at the combine is 9 7/10 of an inch. Before Kenny Pickett, the smallest hands measured were 9 inches, which was Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, and Jared Goff. And yes, then Kenny Pickett comes in at 8.5 inches.
Kenny Pickett has the smallest hands in NFL history
since
that
I
attended the
believe this is
combine.
the 39 of the 39 QBs taken in the first round from 08 to 2020.
They're gonna say since the dawn of
And I
time.
don't know if like maybe they didn't officially measure hand size in before 08.
So we started this segment making a joke about how Kenny Pickett's hand size are so small, and it's gonna translate to being terrible. And what we've learned is Kenny Pickett's hand size is very important, and it's gonna translate to him being terrible.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, I like the stat too of like, it's like, how is he gonna hold on to the ball back there? And then it was like someone tweeted Desmond Ridder has like 10-inch hands and he fumbled 38 times in college. It's like, yeah. Like I do, because okay, Rich, you're the guy I go to for this.
Yeah.
College ball to an NFL ball. What's the
college ball's a little smaller, I believe. I think it's a little fatter. The NFL ball's an overall bigger ball, but kind of a slimmer shape.
And it doesn't have the white lines on
Longer.
it. That's why Jamar couldn't track it. That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
No white
That's
lines.
He always
That's
looks
why-
for the white lines.
That's why he was an absolute bust with the drop problems that he could never
I'd
fix.
love to see Kenny Pickett try and hold a old CFL ball. Right now, the CFL does have the same size ball as the NFL, for those who don't know.
Didn't used to, though.
Didn't used
Wait,
to.
they switched?
They switched, so it's the same size ball as the NFL now. They do still have the stripes on it, though.
Okay.
But
This
yeah,
is a weird thing. And obviously, I think it's probably makes sense, or it either makes sense or it doesn't make sense, which is everything. But
Really, it makes sense or doesn't make sense. Tell me more.
it's gonna fall in one of those two camps for sure.
Right. Okay.
Balls that have the white stripes on it, the spiral looks so much slower. Like it looks like they're throwing it in slow motion.
I don't know if I've noticed that or not.
I
think you
I notice it in college because you can see them checkering, and sometimes it looks like it's not checkering, but I think at the end of the day, like they're probably going the same.
Oh, for
It's just
sure.
an
It's just
optical
like
thing.
it's just
Yeah.
like it literally looks. I'm like, holy shit! How is that ball spinning? Like he threw it at half speed. And then you look in the NFL, and it literally looks like just it. If you're watching it from afar and you can't quite see the laces, it looks like the ball's not turning at all.
Yeah.
Is the dress blue and black, or is it white and gold? And it's the
That-
same thing. Is the ball wobbling, or is it a tight spiral? We don't know.
Dude, we don't know, but that was for sure blue and black, right?
Yes.
Oh, that was white and
that-
gold for sure.
No way.
Oh, okay.
It was black and blue.
No,
it was
it
black
was
and blue.
white
Yeah.
and gold. What are you talking about?
Was it Yanni or Laurel? Do you remember
That one was one where I could just like whichever one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's exactly how that worked.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, Georgia all around won the combine. I'd probably say. I think Baylor had the two guys that broke the combine record for a split second in time. Were both out of Baylor, were they not? They had
think so.
Tyquan Thornton at receiver and Kalen. Someone. Shit, I'm sorry. Sorry, brother.
Hey,
he was fast
neither
as
was
shit, though.
faster than our boy John Ross, though. So I hope those guys get taken right before the best QB in the league in this draft.
John Ross got drafted at 9, right?
Was that?
John Ross got drafted at 9.
Yeah, the pick before Patrick Mahomes was John Ross. Yeah.
So if we're going 9 this year, Seattle, take him based on speed. It never fails. Yeah, I mean, Jordan Davis, I think it was a 4.78.
Yeah.
340 pounds and ran a 4.78.
That's
Yeah,
nuts.
that sounds right.
It doesn't sound right. That's
No.
too
Think about-
fast.
Put this into perspective. Jordan Davis was what, 0.07 seconds slower than Devin Lloyd.
And I mean, that's the thing is like you can always tell if a guy how truly like if his speed is just like how legit it is by usually the rest of their stuff kind of correlates with it. Like when they run their other drills and like the broad jump, especially with that explosion, And like Jordan Davis absolutely killed it in broad jump too and
Mhm.
stuff, right? Like this guy's an all around athlete.
Yeah, he's not just a track star.
No.
No. That was like a guy that I kind of been following too. Just I kind of liked the school. And we had Carson Wentz, Trey Lance come out of there, but Christian Watson, he's a wide receiver coming out of NDSU, and he's like 6'4", 210, 215 with like Tyreek Hill-ish speed. I think he had like an 11'4" broad jump. Like just these guys now are just out of control. Like it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, I can't wait till we dive into draft stuff, but Combine's always fun to watch. What's your guys' favorite event at the Combine?
Hand measurement.
Okay, oh shit. They pull up the tape measure. Tick, 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 tick. 8.5.
What is my favorite event at the Combine?
Honestly, I don't know if it's a sleeper, but vertical jump's always dope.
It is.
See, I'm really torn between like the 40 and the broad jump, just because like not that it's the most important, but everyone puts so much emphasis on the 40, and because you get to see like holy fuck, like that guy's blazing.
Yeah.
And then when people jump out of their minds in the broad jump, like you can see how far they're jumping, but it's really tight between those two for me.
I think mine are bench press because I can see who I can bench press more than for reps. And then, but I think the one I like the most, especially because I like watching a lot of the defensive guys, is like watching like the shuttle and how fast you can move side to side.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Especially with linebackers, that's a big thing. And that tells you like speed at a linebacker doesn't tell you a lot, straight line speed, because you're almost never going straight line. So you need to know how fast they're moving laterally, right? That's what I like to watch.
Is like Jordan Davis ran 4.78, and it's like that is disgusting. That's insane, absurd, all this stuff. When's the fucking last time a D tackle had 40 yards untouched? Like it doesn't exactly translate. Like that's why I let the broad jump, just that raw power.
Right. So, I mean, especially for line positions, I think the best thing to look at that's the 10-yard split, because you can estimate how much velocity they're getting off the line, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you look at these people will write off linemen, linemen if they run a 5.2, and it's like, yeah, motherfucker, what'd you expect? Like,
yeah,
obviously.
He might be late on a screen or two, but
but did you see him throw up 35 reps? Like it just, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like, especially on draft Twitter, like everyone takes everybody's measurements and they weigh them the exact same. And it's like that. Can't do it. Can't win with it.
I think I heard if they did like by like actual like weight and position value and stuff, like not position value, that's what I'm trying to say, but if you take it by like actual like weight and like how they adjust to like elite levels of their position, the Jordan Davis Combine was like one of the elite ones.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like him and Devontae Wyatt were elite. Two D tackles from Georgia, right?
I do like whenever, like, I know DK Metcalf, when he did his, it was kind of the same thing, and Saquon and Jordan Davis, it's always like, he's taller than so-and-so, he's faster than so-and-so, and I like, Dave, we were watching the Combine, and the first bullet point they had for Jordan Davis was, he's taller than Rob Gronkowski. Dave's like, is Gronk like known? Obviously he's a tall guy, but it's like, is Gronk like the benchmark for that is a tall individual in the NFL? It's like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, is this the benchmark of height now? It's like, oh my God, you're taller than Gronk. You're massive.
He's taller than Gronk. This guy's a freak. It's like, oh, he's a tall guy, but I mean, who isn't? Yeah. Is there any news we're missing? I feel like we got it all.
I think we covered it.
This is a fun episode.
I liked it.
Braden, I like having you on.
Welcome. Yeah.
Love being here. This is a lot of fun.
Hey, there we go. So I guess in the next couple of weeks we'll be getting into draft.
Free agency's first of all.
Free agency, draft
free agency opens on the 16th, I think.
I think so.
Holy
so
shit.
Next week. Yeah.
Holy shit.
The NFL's in all year round league, dude. There's lots to cover.
The NFL is so far and away king, it's not even funny. Like, damn. Love it though. Yeah, no, but we'll be getting into free agent stuff, draft stuff, and then right back into preseason eventually. Seems like it's right around the corner. Damn, I can't wait. But as always, guys, appreciate you listening. Appreciate you all the support. Just appreciate you. And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. You can go like, nope. You can go subscribe. No, you can go follow us at the Booth EC on Instagram and Twitter. Jesus Christ. But do go like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Go buy merch unless you're an absolute piece of shit. And if you're an absolute piece of shit, still buy merch, you know.
Check out our fundraiser too for supporting
fundraiser.
Humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. The link is in our bio on our socials.
Yeah. Are you a piece of shit? That's the test. Are you a piece of shit or are you not? We appreciate all the help and just be a good person. That's it. That's the message. That's what, honestly, this whole podcast today, that's the message. Just be a good person.
Don't gamble on your own sport.
Don't gamble on your own sport. And if you are, at least make sure you're betting on your boys.
And make sure you have big hands.
And yeah, don't be medium gloves. I like how that's the thing that sent Dave over the edge. Was like, holy shit. Like,
I never got context with it until now. Like, medium gloves are like little boy gloves, man.
Dude, he's basically JPP. Guy's gripping it with a nub. Like, does he throw it with two hands?
Does he actually? Yeah. Does he throw it like he's like a kid, where they just kind of get their hand under it and like push it? Is that Kenny Pickett?
I think so.
I'm surprised he doesn't throw like more like Philly Rivers did.
Yeah, exactly. And they go, it feels like, well, when I was a kid, I was a ball boy. And Kenny Pickett goes, I just have the smallest hands ever recorded. So that's why I do it. Yeah, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Kenny Pickett has sewing hands, not football hands.
Thank you for listening to the Booth Podcast.